top 10 things of things that I ask folks to try. The first thing is a calendar. We talked about, it's time management. We need to figure out how to wrangle that stuff. So I ask everyone to spend some time finding the best calendar for them. A lot of my clients are very techie, so the best calendar for them is in their phone. I'm a very tactile individual, so I have a big paper calendar, probably from the 80s. It hasn't changed, but that's what works for me. I can take notes on it. It's very visual. So that's the first thing, is to find a calendar that works for you. The second thing is to do that brain dump of what I said. What's all the stuff that's in here that needs to be done. Put it down on paper or put it in your electronic calendar if that's what works. But have a running to-do list of things that need to be done in a place that you can find that list. The other thing is that I ask my clients to look at is, it's referred to as the Eisenhower Matrix, which is urgent, important, because we may have 100 things on our to-do list. They're all not urgent. They're all not important. Some of them are not urgent and not important. So those can just be like scratched off of our list. But the urgent and important are those things that when you go to bed at night, you're thinking, oh, wow, I am so glad I got those 3 things done. Or if you get up first thing in the morning and you make your to-do list, what are the 3 things that are urgent and important that I really need to get done today? So kind of going through your to-do list and saying, this is urgent and this is important, and figuring out what the priority is. Timing tasks. So I always tell the story about one of my clients who said, you know what? It takes me 4 hours to vacuum my house. And I'm thinking, hokey smokes, how big of a house do you have? Well, it seemed like it took 4 hours, but when she did it, it was really just 45 minutes. But that disassociation with how long things take when we don't like them really kind of messes with our time management. So if we think vacuuming the house takes 4 hours, then we're not going to plan anything else in that other 3 hours and 15 minutes that it really didn't take, right? So timing our tasks. How long does it take us to get out of the house? How long does it take us to take the garbage out? How long does it take us to vacuum? How long does it take us to drive to work? How long does it take us to walk from our office to where that meeting is? All those little things, if we time them, then we have that basis of knowledge when we're going through and putting things on our calendar. So I ask people to time things. The time timer, talk about transitions, that using that time timer for transitions to be able to say, you need to be done with what you're doing right now because you have something else that needs to be done. And analog clocks are another big thing. We're in this digital world, but analog clocks have a different effect on our brain than digital clocks do. So I always say, if you close your eyes and you think about what 2:15 looks like on an analog clock and what 2:15 looks like on a digital clock, and then think about what does 2:45 look like on a digital clock versus what it looks like on an analog clock. Markedly different. All that's different is 2 little digital lines, but the impression on our brain is significantly different with an analog clock than with a digital clock. So, and I will say with people who are challenged with transitions, where are your clocks in the kitchen? Well, I don't have a clock in the kitchen. Where's your clock in the bathroom? Well, I don't like the look of a clock in the bathroom. Well, if we don't have a clock available to us, it's harder to keep track of time. So I say put analog clocks everywhere. The other thing on time management is reducing distractions. So like you have your headset on, I'll suggest that clients who are working in an office environment ask if it's okay to wear headphones so they can block out those distractions, or keep their backs to the door so they're not seeing the visual distractions of people walking by. Turn off the notifications on your phone. Turn off your email notification, because if we get that little ding that says, oh, I have a new email, we want that dopamine rush of checking and seeing what that is. What might we be missing out on? So turn off those reduce the distractions as much as you possibly can. We talked a little bit about avoiding procrastination. And the way to avoid procrastination, you can use that accountability partner, or you could just come up with what that next step is, the next step and the next step and the next step. So try to avoid procrastination. Then the final two we've also talked about, which is just saying no. Because saying no to a project that takes 3 hours means that you're saying yes to projects you've already committed to, or spending time with your family, going for a run, going to the gym, going fishing, whatever it is, whatever you say yes to is taking away from something else. And then finally, don't strive for perfection. When they say perfection is God's department, so saying, you know what, this is good enough, and putting that check mark off and letting it go. So don't strive for perfection, strive for done. And sometimes done is good enough. Because when we let that scope creep come in and making it, if I do this one more thing, it'll be perfect. Then it's going to be one more thing and then it's perfect. And then we're never done.